Dalton, move over that way. Uncomfortable. Oh, hey, we're on, Dalton. Look, it's a camera. Hey, this is the weekly DJ Preps football preview show. Brad here, Dalton right there. And what we're going to do for the next little while, if you haven't watched this before, I don't know why you wouldn't have, but in case you didn't, we're just going to go over 3 big games coming up this week in high school football. This is week 4, I believe. Right? Mm-hmm. Math is hard, but I think it's week 4. So we'll get to those, but first we want to review last week's predictions. Again, if you haven't joined us before, this decides who wins the game. We just pick a score. And so we've got 3 big games that we're going to look at, but last week the coin went 2-1, Dalton. Not bad at all. Just missed the Nettleton-Boonville game. But it picked Amory to beat Aberdeen, which some people might think that's an upset. Mm-hmm. And it got Starkville, our number 1 team, beating West Point to snap their 30-game winning streak. Now, as far as the best pick of the week, Dalton, I'm afraid that was me again. You know, because the coin picked Amory to win. I picked a final of 28-26. It was actually 34-26. How about that?
You're 2-1 against me.
That's right. Okay, let's take a quick glance at the games that we're going to be talking about. We've got North Pontotoc at South Pontotoc, Lafayette at Oxford, and Biggersville at TCPS. Okay, now, not bad. Let's talk about the first game, Dalton. North Pontotoc at South Pontotoc. That is it's one of the better rivalries around here, cross-county rivals, and both off to pretty solid starts this year. So let's start with the keys of the game. We're going to have 3 keys. That's 2. You know, you can't really do this with a coin in my hand. 3 keys to the game. Key number 1, Brett Riley. He's a very tall human being.
Yes.
Plays tight end for South Pontotoc. He's 6.5 feet, and has been known to come up with some big games. I mean, and on his career, he's scored 29 touchdowns, and he's been known to go off for 3 or 4 or even 5 in a single game. So that could present some matchup issues for North Pontotoc, but we'll see how that goes. Key number 2, North Pontotoc's defense. It's a strong defense, Dalton. We know that, led by Corley Hooper, but they'll be tested by Brett Riley, and let's not forget Eddie Ivey, one of the best running backs in the area.
Yeah, it doesn't matter how good your defense is. It's hard to defend somebody when you're in 3A and they're 6'6".
Yeah, it's
basically impossible.
It's pretty tough. And finally, key number 3, scoring more points than the other team.
It seems to work every once in a while.
Who wrote this? Oh, it was me. Sorry. Well, it's true. If you score more points, you win. Let's do the prediction, Dalton. Heads, the home team wins. Tails, the visiting team, and it is heads. So we're going to go with South Pontotoc, or the coin goes with South Pontotoc. What's your prediction?
28-21.
I'll say 23-17. Sound good?
Yeah, that sounds good.
Cool. Nice. Game number 2, the Crosstown Classic, Lafayette at Oxford. Always a good game, Dalton. The schools are separated by like 2 or 3 miles. Lafayette off to a good start this year, by the way. Oxford struggling a little bit, but it's a rival game. You know what the coaches say, Dalton. Toss the records out, whatever. 3 keys to the game. Key number 1, Lafayette is really good at running the ball. They've got a kind of a 3-headed monster over there. They got Lance Stewart, they've got Jamie Shaw, and the quarterback Randy Anderson can all run the ball really well. So that's going to be a tough task for Oxford's defense. Key number 2, Oxford's J.J. Pegues. He's a big kid, Division I prospect, plays tight end, will play some other positions too for Oxford, but 6'3", 245, and if they can get the ball in his hands, I think he could make Lafayette pay. And finally, the 3rd key to this game, home field advantage. Because, you know, Lafayette's got to travel like 2.5 miles.
It's rough.
I mean, after that kind of bus ride, yeah.
See if the fans show up or not.
Yeah, we'll see. So they both play on artificial turf, by the way. Trivia. Okay, let's do the flip. Lafayette at Oxford. Here we go. Tails. Nope, that's heads.
Oxford.
That's heads. Oxford, your pick.
17-14.
I'll say 23-21. Okay, cool. Last game. Nice. Biggersville at TCPS. Division play starts for 1A teams this weekend. So this will be the Division 1A opener for Biggersville and TCPS. 3 keys to the game. I think number 1 would be time of possession in regards to TCPS, because Biggersville has all these really good playmakers, and if you keep them off the field and milk some clock, I think that helps TCPS's chances.
They're averaging 53 points a game, Biggersville is.
It's been
right now.
ridiculous. You got Quamon Davis, Quan Mays, and now Quentin Knight, the quarterback, is pretty good too. Key number 2, you've got first-year starters at quarterback for both teams. Quentin Knight, as I just mentioned, young kid, but Coach Stan Platt likes him a lot. Then you got Kai Holiday, another young kid quarterbacking for TCPS, and he can run the ball pretty well. So that'll be kind of an interesting little contrast between those two guys. And then key number 3, the pregame coin flip. Well, I guess if you win it and decide to kick off,
I guess whatever your strategy is going to be.
or if you can travel back in time after that and then decide not to kick off, you got some butterfly effect going on.
All your captains.
I have no idea what
slip
I'm
and fall
talking. I have
in the
no
mud or
idea what I'm
something.
talking about. People, ignore me. So we got to do the prediction on that one. James is dying up there. We're going so long on this show. It's is that the tails? What kind of quarter is this, James? Both sides look like heads.
That's tails.
It's tails, so we'll go with Biggersville. You got score.
Oh,
Quick, man.
42-35.
42-35. I will go with 35-30. Okay. And finally, you got to catch that, James. We got the, not finally, almost finally. This is the penultimate segment. Is your word of the day, Dalton. The Broughton Award. Brad Dalton, best 1-2 punch from the past week. Corinth has these two running backs, Tam Patterson and Zach Patterson. They're cousins. And last week, Tam had 210 yards and 2 touchdowns. Zach had 217 and 3 touchdowns. That's a pretty good 1-2 punch, isn't it?
Yeah, it's effective.
It is. All right. Hey, real quick before we get out of here, we're going to tell you where we're going to be this Friday covering games. Dalton will be at Tupelo as the Wave hosts Brandon. David Wheeler will cover Biggersville at TCPS. Floyd Ingram has Itawamba at Houston. Looks like I'm going to be at Lafayette and Oxford. And then Jonathan Wise will be covering North Pontotoc and South Pontotoc. So that's it for this episode of the DJ Preps Football Preview Show. Be sure to check out our podcast, too, every Wednesday. You can find it in iTunes or your podcast apps or at preprally.djournal.com. We'll see y'all next week. Nice catch.
Let me see that
Stage.
quarter.
Yeah.
Is it? What do you mean it looks like a head?
Well,
Tails.
I was